So welcome everyone to WinesOfItaly LiveStream. We're a couple of minutes late, so we just had to get everything in order that it worked with the StreamYard and the livestream and so forth. Today I have a, I think, very interesting guest that I also visited this year, just like the week before it all shut down, like pre-COVID.
Yeah, I remember.
Basically, I came home from Montefalco, and I managed to move to a new apartment, and then everything shut down. So that's basically it. And since then, we've been in the same situation for a long time. For those of you who follows and want to ask questions, you can do so in the comments below. I will also share the link to the website of Ilaria, and then I will also share a link to my newsletter in case you want more news about upcoming live streams. And for the rest, I hope you present yourself in the comments below and say something. And I only have to present now Ilaria Cocco, who is a producer in close to Montefalco in Umbria of Sagrantino wines. So while she starts presenting herself, I will just go and shut something off here. Actually, the pellet, how do you say, stufa di pellet, so it doesn't start to make strange noises. So welcome, Ilaria, and do you want to present yourself briefly?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Ilaria Cocco. I'm a producer of wine in the Montefalco area. My history started more or less 12 years ago. I studied completely different things. I started my life in another way, but the passion for my land, the passion for my region, and for vineyards take me back to Italy and to create my vineyards. And so in 2008 I started, but my first bottle came out in 2018. So 10 years of in which in this time I study a lot, I work a lot, and I also experiment a lot about wine and about which kind of style I wanted to give to my wine. So it's a long time, not so long, but for me it was quite a long time of in which I work for my wines, and since 2 years I have this like 3 baby. For me it's like really a baby, and I produce just 3 kind of wine. I have just 3 hectares and a half, so mine is really small business. I follow everything by myself, from the vineyard to the cellar to the buying and selling everything. So I really follow all the aspects of my business, and I love this dimension.
Yeah, I think I missed something here, but so as taking care of everything yourself, how, I mean, what were the challenges in the beginning? I mean, when you started to
I mean, there are a lot of challenge also now, a bit in the beginning, but still now. The beginning, because I was a young woman. When I started, I was 28, more or less, and so I was quite young, and no one knows me in the business, in the wine business. I was new, and I had to study. I mean, I grew up producing wine because my grandparents producing wine, but just from friends and family, not for selling. And so I was completely new in this business, and was quite hard to make accept myself, like in the business. And it was hard also because I had to study really a lot to have the knowledge to grow up a vineyard and to make wine and to follow a cellar and everything. So was quite hard, everything, and also now, like, it's not so easy for a really small business. It's not easy to enter in the market and let the wine knows. And it's not easy, but it's a great challenge for me. I mean, I love. I have to live with challenge, with a different challenge. So I appreciate also this difficulty.
No, clearly. I mean, I can imagine that. So, when you decided that you wanted to start producing wine and attending to the family vineyards, I mean, did you start studying enology, or did you take sommelier courses, or how did you go about it in the beginning?
At the beginning, I wanted to follow all the academic way. So I had a degree before in marketing, and I tried to enter again in university and study enologist, but was to grow up with a new business, to study at university. And I work also in my mom business, so to help me to grow up my wine business. So I couldn't really study at university, but I studied by myself. So I started trying and studying and talking with all the people that can suggest me or talk about wine, or talk about how the vineyard have to grow up, how to have to follow. There are different ways in which you can learn. And
no, for sure.
This was my way.
So we have Evelyn here. She has a Facebook group, the Fine Wine Buzz, I think it's called, who follows these live streams always very faithfully. So welcome. I was thinking also about, of course, it would have been too much clearly to go back to university when you also have a business to run. How has the other producers in the Montefalco area? Do you help each other? Could you ask also for advice from other fellow wineries?
I mean, wine business, it's a strange word, and it was not easy for me to let me know, also in my small area, but was not the fault of the other producer, of course, just that it's quite a competitive business. So each producer look for his own business, his own world. And but I think that consortium in the last year make the Montefalco consortium making really a good job to let the producer know, to leave the producer present itself. I mean, not just for the consortium, just for the area, but also each producer. So I think they're doing a really good work.
No, for sure. So, I mean, when you started out, you had in the vineyards, what did you already had, or did you have to replant some vineyards? Did you already have the grapes ready to go, or how did it?
No, I replant the vineyards because my grandparents' vineyard was really too old. But apart from old, I mean, was just that they take care of the vineyard, not in a professional way. I mean, so the vineyard didn't produce anymore, and I couldn't follow that vineyard. So I replant everything, but I replant in 2000, 2001. So my plan of business was before when I started in 2008. I mean, since I was young, I had this dream. But sometimes you dream something, but you couldn't realize that dream can become true. And but I mean, I work a lot to realize that dream. So in 2000, more or less, I replant all the vineyards, 3.5 hectares. So I start to make wine in 2008, and I start to bottle in 2018. So I take long time to make all the steps. I take my time.
Yeah, no, for sure. So for those people who perhaps are not sure about the layout or the geographic area of Montefalco, in which direction of from Montefalco are you located? Where are your winery?
My winery is in the east part, east southeast. So all the vineyards are east southeast exposure. I don't know the pronunciation. Sorry, and so my all the vineyard are in the Montefalco area, so really close to the city. And yes, I have just 3.5 hectares, and I produce Sagrantino, of course, Sangiovese, and Merlot.
Okay. And what is particular about? Are there anything that is typical of that micro area where you're in that kind of is different from other areas around Montefalco?
I mean,
terroir-wise. I mean,
but in terms of climate or
yeah,
what else?
microclimate and micro terroir and so forth.
But it depends. Sagrantino area different terroir. The main part of terroir are not. Sorry, I don't know how to say in English. The most of the terroir are from argilla. Can you help me?
So clay, mostly is clay.
Okay. Instead, my terroir are more ghiaioso, sassoso. Sorry again, but I can.
Pebbles and small stones.
Yeah. In fact, in that part of the Montefalco area, it's common to produce olive oil, because the olive trees love that kind of terroir.
Okay.
It's more common to see olive trees instead of vineyard. But because this terroir make my grapes more less alcoholic, less colorful, but more I think more elegant, more aromatic. This kind of terroir can help my wine to this kind of characteristic. I mean,
yeah,
and yes, and there are a lot of microclimate in all the Sagrantino area, because we have a lot of hills, so a lot of different exposure, and it's quite a windy area, but each hills have predominant wind, so each vineyard have different characteristic, different topic.
Yeah. So, I mean, during the more recent years, I mean, generally also when I've been visiting the Anteprima Sagrantino, for example, 2 years ago, they talked about that 2015 was a very good year, of course.
Yeah.
But also that several of the producers now say that they have learned how to manage the Sagrantino in the vineyard, and that the tannins are becoming kind of less aggressive. I mean, they're still there, but they're softer because of the work in the vineyard. So in the few years that you have worked with in the vineyards and then with your production, have you seen a change also in your own?
I think in the last year, I think all the winery are taking a lot of attention to the harvest, to the perfect moment for the harvest. I think that is the secret. I mean, for tannins, because of course Sagrantino is the wine with more tannins, and the grapes with more tannins. So you have to manage with this. But the only way to work with tannins is the harvest, I think. Okay. Because you have to really find the perfect moment in which the grapes are the perfect tannins. Maturazione, sorry.
Yes, the maturation. So when
maturation,
when they're ripe,
and
in the
it's
perfect moment.
And it's a strange balance because, of course, the Sagrantino is a late harvest. So if you look at the perfect tannins maturation, you can they usually is the end of October, but in that period this can start the fog, that can start the first muffe. Sorry. Like,
the first rot, or the how do you say? No, I can't remember that.
I can
The
remember the
mold,
names.
the first
Sorry, the
mold.
yeah, yeah,
Mold
yeah.
of the plants.
So you have really to be careful. Like there is really a small balance between the perfect grapes and the perfect maturation. But I think this is the secret to work with tannins. And 2005 was perfect because the weather was really good till the end of October. So you have no problem with fog, with humidity, with rain. So you could choose which moment was the best to harvest. Instead, in other vintage, for example 2014, was not the same. Also this year was not, I mean, the quality this year was quite good, but also this year we had rain, we had fog in the middle of October. So you have to check the vineyard every single day and find
No,
the
for sure.
perfect moment.
Yeah, but I guess also probably the yield. I mean, has something to do with it also, that you produce more for quality production rather than high yield production.
Yeah.
But it's perhaps more several years ago back.
Uh,
So I don't know.
so,
There was no. If anybody have any questions, feel free to ask them to Ilaria here. Should we go over and talk? Is there anything else you want to say about the area that is particular about for the Sagrantino that you produce, or should we go over and talk more about the wines, perhaps?
I can talk about the wines. I mean, I produce just three kind of wines that are the typical wines of the territory. So Rosso di Montefalco, that is made for a blend of Sagrantino, Sangiovese, and Merlot. And I produce Sagrantino and Sagrantino Passito, that is made from raisin grapes, sorry. And I produce just 10,000 bottle per year of all the bottles. So, for example, of Sagrantino, I produce just 2,000 bottle per year. Is really nothing. So I take a lot of attention to the quality, and and I decided to start to bottle when I was sure about the style of my wine and the quality of my wine. Of course, I have to grow up. Of course, I have to learn a lot. It's just by beginning. I mean, the wine are such a big word and such
Yeah.
also a complex word. But every single year I work a lot to study more and to learn more about wine and to follow my way. I mean, I think I found my style in the style that I like, and also the style that the grape and the terroir helped me to create this kind of wine. And I'm really link and connect to the Sagrantino Passito because it's the wine of my grandparents. I mean, the Montefalco area since like 12, 20, 30 years ago, the most famous wine was just Sagrantino Passito, is the
Yeah.
sweet wine. Or almost every family produced also a little bit of Sagrantino Passito because was the wine for the party, for Christmas, for Easter. I remember my grandparents that really take a lot of attention. They bottle the wine. They to also just to give to friends. And so I'm really linked to this to this wine. Probably this is the reason why I wanted to create this business. I wanted to in the wine business.
Okay. No, that's for sure. I mean, the Passito was the original Sagrantino, so to say, as you mentioned.
Yes, was the original, but I think for a reason, because as we told before, the tannins
Yeah,
was for that the nose of that age was quite impossible to drink Sagrantino in the same year they produce it. So they found this way to make that sweet. If you make that sweet, the tannins are more soft. Of course, the sugar balance the tannins, so you could
yeah,
drink the wine in the same year you produce it. In that time, there was really poor family. They couldn't just put in the wine and drink in 3 or 4 years. And they wanted to drink. They need to drink in the same time. And so
yeah,
I think this was the reason why they start to produce the sweet wine, because was the only way they could use Sagrantino grapes.
for
I
sure.
think that they discover a wine in some way. They discover a new kind of wine.
True. Well, it is a very pleasant wine. So, I mean, of course, we like the dry Sagrantino now, but I think the Passito is really something special. So for those who perhaps doesn't know how it's made, I mean, could you briefly say how do you produce the Passito Sagrantino?
Is we make a harvest by hand, of course, with the selection of all the grapes, all the more safe grapes and beautiful grapes, and we put to make it dry in a sort of box. I mean,
Yeah,
and they make that dry for more or less 2 months, just with the windy, exposed to the wind. And after 2 months, we start to make the usual way in which make wine. So the particular things is just
the drying
the
process.
dry the way in which you dry the grapes, of course.
Yeah. Mm. Um, and if we then go over and talk more about the Montefalco Rosso and the Sagrantino, then of course, I mean, can you say something about what is the blend in your Montefalco Rosso?
The blend is 60% of Sangiovese, 25% of Merlot, and 15% of Sagrantino. This is
Okay.
more or less the typical blend for Rosso, and this is the blend that come out in the 2000, more or less, when I replant the vineyard, because I have just these three kind of grapes, and I plant the grapes thinking to the blend. So I think before to the blend, and then I plant the grapes, and then the wine comes out. So it's more or less the typical blend. Then someone put Cabernet or put more Sangiovese, but
Yeah.
usually the blend is more or less this for everyone.
Yeah, also because I mean you want to have a more easier drinkable wine than the Sagrantino DOCG, I guess. It's better to have a smaller percentage of Sagrantino to not make it too tannic, or I guess that's the idea.
Yes, yes. It's they create this blend, they create this wine to make more easy to drink the Sagrantino in making a blend around the Sagrantino. I mean, also if I thinking to my wine, when I started to think the style of my wine, I thought to Rosso as a strong wine, the same of Sagrantino. I mean, also I choose, for example, not to leave the vintage that is out in the moment. For example, now almost every vineyard, every winery sell the 2017. I'm selling 2015, but because I choose to make the wine, I project the wine in this way. I mean, to make a wine that could that you can drink and you can live in the cellar and drink ages after. I mean.
So you prefer it to age a bit longer to be more smooth, I guess, to drink?
Yes, yeah.
Which is
this was my. But also with Sagrantino, I made the same. I mean, I'm selling 2014 now, and now they're selling 2016. So for all the wines, I put the same philosophy behind to make wine. I prefer to take one here more, two here more, in the winery, the wine, but sell when I think they are ready to sell, not following the last vintage.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, several wineries also do that now in the Chianti Classico, for example. And I mean, with a grape like a Sagrantino, I think it's a good idea to make it a bit more drinkable and also enjoyable.
I think for Sagrantino is quite a must to make this, to live in the vineyard. For Rosso, it was more. I choose to make this. To make the wine in this way, to make more drinkable after like 5 or 6 years, I think is ready now.
Yeah. No, but I remember we tasted it when I was there. So, but generally also because I said I tasted it 2014 from some other winery also this year, and I must say they were really good. So I mean, even if it's considered to be a very bad year, I think it's the wine that came out of it. The wine that I have tasted so far of the Sagrantino is.
But 2014 was my first bottle, so you tried my first. I mean, it's just the third year I bottle, so unfortunately I don't have like historic history of my wine.
No.
But
it could have been hard anyway. I mean.
But for example, I come out in 2018 with the Rosso 2014, so I live 1 year, 2 years more in my winery. You know, because I choose this way for my wines, and I think it can pay. I mean, I want to sell the wine when I know that they are ready to sell.
Anything you want to say particularly about your Sagrantino, which is a great wine that I remember now that I tasted this year?
Yeah, Sagrantino, for example, in all my wines, I choose not to put the wood like a protagonist of the smell of the wine. So I use the wood just to help the wines to make more harmonic, but I don't want that the wood smell comes over the wine. So sorry?
Yeah, that it's not overlapping the wine or.
Yeah. I think the wood to help the wine to make more balanced, not cover the aromatic smell of the wine. And so this is my way in which I make Sagrantino above all. And so I use just big barrel. But big barrel for me is like 15, 25 hectoliters, not more, because of the small dimension of my winery. Of course, I don't have so much wine. So I put the wine more or less for 16, 18 months. It depends from the vintage, of course. So I have not protocol to follow. I just want to smell the wine and to taste the wine, and when the wood make his work, and I don't want to put over the wine. And so I use the big barrel, and then just still tank, and then I leave the bottle almost 2 years because before selling. So
Okay.
this is the.
No, I remember we talked about the how you managed the oak and the wood, and I remember you said you only used big casks, and I think you also feel that in the wine that you don't feel this overbearing presence of the oak, but rather it's a very smooth
Yeah.
as a support to the wine.
At the beginning, I start to use barrique because of the style of the wine in 2005, 2008 was the barrique wine. So I start buying barrique and put the Sagrantino and the Rosso in barrique, but it was not my way. I mean, I didn't appreciate so much Sagrantino because I think that the wood sometimes put. I think Sagrantino is quite aromatic wine, and the wood cover everything.
No, that's true.
So I find this way, and I start. Leave the barrique just for a little part of Sangiovese, little part of the blend of Sangiovese for the Rosso, and Sagrantino just in big barrels. And for example, Sagrantino Passito, I don't use wood at all. I just leave in the steel tank and then bottle because I don't want.
Do you use cement, or you don't really have that?
Sorry.
Do you use cement also, or you don't have cement tanks?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Cemento.
No, I have 3 big tank of this material, and I use for Rosso di Montefalco.
Okay.
When I have the blend for Rosso is ready, I put in cemento tank.
Okay.
So I use just steel, cemento, and wood in my winery at the moment.
Well, that's a good strategy, I think. So if I would ask you, I mean, what do you want your wine to communicate? I mean, when a person buy and taste your wine, what is it you want to, what idea or what vision do you have that you want your wine to communicate?
I'd like that my wine communicates the territory, Umbria and Montefalco area, and all the history of this little piece of wood. That's why I don't want to use too much wood or change too much. For example, also in Passito, I want to leave Sagrantino like really in a traditional way, like to try to make Sagrantino explode with aromas, with strongness, and so I'd like that people that drink my wine then are curious about the territory, ask about the territory that is behind this wine. I'd like to communicate this.
No,
I
that's
think nothing else. I think a wine I have to communicate this. I mean, it's so linked to the place in which you produce the grapes and the wine that the only mission of a wine have to be this. It, don't have to communicate myself. Don't have to communicate other things apart from the territory.
No, I mean that's true. I mean, of course, the identity of a wine is completely linked to the place where it's where the grapes are grown and where the wine is produced. So for sure, I totally agree with that.
Yes, unfortunately, Umbria is not so known as a territory. That's the problem, I think, also with the wine, because other parts of Italy, of course, like Toscana, like Piemonte, like Veneto, are more known as a touristic place and as place in general, and so also the wine are more connected with the territory. Umbria is a region for a lot of people known. I mean, they don't know. I mean, yes, Umbria is like in the middle of Italy, but that's it. So it's the difficulties to communicate the territory, I think.
No, that's true.
And the wine can help.
No, that's for sure. I mean, I think the last few years, Umbria has become a bit more on the wine map than it was before. But that might also be only me learning more about the Umbria wines. So if people want to find your wines, where can they find them? I mean, you have a very small production, so
yeah, it's really a small production at the moment. I commercialize my wine in Umbria and Roma in the near place, and also in America. I found an importer in America. I am so really happy for this because one of my dreams was to bring my wine abroad for the reason that I told before, to make know the territory, and I was really happy. Unfortunately, this period this year, of course, don't help.
it's a bit difficult, yeah.
Of course, and also the problem with the small winery is also the small quantity. I mean, if you find an importer, but sometimes they need more quantity. I mean,
Yeah,
and I don't know that, so I have to find someone that want to sell like the story and to tell the story of the wine. I mean,
yeah.
it's not easy.
No,
But
also because I mean you can't really, produce to be everywhere in the US. So there's a question
no,
from Kari who wants to know who your importer is. I mean, where do you sell in the US?
my importer is my is vegan wine. They have a sort of apart from distribution to restaurant, they have also sort of a club, a wine club. So I think you can find them in the vegan wines shop
Okay.
online. So they have a shop online. They have different way in which they sell wine, and this
Okay.
is good for the period. And because I mean, restaurants are closed all over the world, so people want to drink at home, and it's important to be in a shop online and to make your wine more easy to find.
So welcome, Kari, and thank you for the question. And also, Evelyn wanted to know. So, for those of you who wants to find the wines of Ilaria in the US, you can go to the vegan wine website and find out more.
Yeah.
Do you sell also like direct to consumer in Umbria, or do you only sell for restaurants or wine shops?
Yes, restaurants, wine shops, and I started to sell also direct to the people because as you see when you come in my winery, everything is under construction at the moment.
Yeah.
So, but this summer I started to make some degustation to some tourists come in the winery, so also the direct sell and or people that just email me and I send the wine all over Italy. I start also this way, this sell way, and for Christmas time till Easter time, I think the consortio make a shop online with all the wines of the producer. Was really a good idea to make the wine know and to help the producer to
I saw
sell
that.
in this period.
No, that's a good initiative also
Yeah.
to make the wines at least to be able to sell a bit in this
Yeah.
weird year.
Also for the small producer that can have a shop online, because of course for me could be too expensive and too hard to follow a shop online just for 3 wines. Have no sense. So I deliver it to all the people that want in Umbria or close, or I send wine all over Italy.
No, that's good. I mean, so if anybody wants to buy her Sagrantino, for sure you can you can order
Yeah.
directly from welcome, Ilaria.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask before, are you organic or you're about to become organic?
I'm not organic. Yeah, at the moment I'm a conventional way agriculture, and I mean, I don't believe too much in certification. I believe more in like have the conscience of what you do in your own word, in your own business. So I don't believe too much. I'm trying every year to do more to become organic, but in my sense, I mean, I think I would never take the certification because really I don't care, but I want to take care of my vineyard. I want to take care of the territory, and so every year I'm trying to do more. The things is having just 3.5 hectares is hard to follow just with organic rules, because it can happen like 2 or 3 years that the weather is really bad, and you know the climate is changing, and for example in the last year they make like June and July really raining. They are really, the season are really changing, and also the vineyards have to take habit of this change, and it's hard for me, for this small quantity, this small hectare, to follow all the practice of the organic wine. But every year I'm trying to do more, and I'm trying to do more also with the solar panel. I mean, I'm trying to make all the winery more ecological and more
sustainable,
to pay more, to pay more attention to the environment.
So this was also the question from Kari, to tell you to say a bit more about your vineyard management, which you did now. So basically you can't, because of course you have 3 hectares, so if it's a bad year, as you say, and you lose the harvest,
I lose everything. I mean, in a big or in a medium winery, you can put a percent per year that you can lose. I mean, if I have 10 hectare or 15 hectare, I can put like, okay, 10%, 50%, 20% per year. I lose production because of the weather, because of the rain or other things. But in 3.5 hectares, if I lose 20, 30%, 2 or 3 years,
no, that's true.
It's impossible. It's not a business. I mean, I'm the passion. I love my job and I love my vineyard, and I really want to create a balance between me and the environment in which I work. But it's a business in any case. So I pay a lot of attention of all the product that I gave to my in the vineyard, and of course in the product that I use in the cellar. But sometimes in some condition I have to use some product that, for example, are not allowed in an organic proceed.
No, that's for sure. So she was happy with that answer, I think, and Evelyn put the link to the Facebook for My Vegan Wines. So
Yeah.
for anyone who wants to go and check out Ilaria's wines, that I can recommend.
Yeah.
And I don't know, any
That's
more
the
questions?
same for the vegan wines, for example, for the importer. I mean, I'm not certification like vegan, but of course, to be vegan in a wine, to be vegan, you have to do really small things, of course, above all in the cellar. I mean, you have to choose product not coming from animal. You can use bentonite instead of product comes from egg or from pig or other things. So you have really to be small attention, and for me, some certification are really the things that I have to pay someone to certificate myself it's a strange way to think.
Well, it's
I
also
believe
not a
more
work
in.
to follow the every year. I mean, it takes 3 years to convert, and then you have to pay attention to documentation and stuff. So I think it's a lot of
Yes,
work.
it's more about documentation that really attention to what you do. That's why I don't believe in certification, because when someone comes to control your business, just come to control the paper, and you know you can do almost what you want. So I think that people that work that work with the in in environment have to preserve where they work, because this is business. So
Yeah,
I think everyone have to think in this way, not just because they want to put organic or vegan or something in the bottle. I found this more marketing than other things, but it's my idea and the
no,
way
that's
in
true.
which
I
I.
mean, of course, it's a way to communicate to the consumer that you are organic. But I mean, there's a lot of the important natural wine producers that are not even organic. They're conventional. It's just that they don't use pesticides
Yeah, but there
anymore.
are a lot of that are organic, but don't write organic on the bottle. Just
Yeah.
it depends.
It's a choice. I mean, it's how you prefer to do it. So it
Yeah,
doesn't.
to communicate to yourself, your business, and your wine. It's a choice. I mean,
No, for sure. So for those of you who want to find it in the US, you can do so, and otherwise in Italy. So should we end this nice chat with something about food? Because I know that the listeners here often like to know something about pairing with a typical local food from Umbria. So what do you
yeah.
pair your Sagrantino with? What is a typical local dish you would pair your Sagrantino with?
But I think that all the wine all over the world. I mean, the wine are really linked to the typical food in the same area,
Yeah,
because food and wine comes together. You can. I mean, yes, we try wine separately, but the best is to find the match between wine
yeah.
and food. And I think that Umbria cuisine is perfect for this kind of wine, for strong red wine.
Yeah,
You can find, I don't know, from all in Umbria, we are really good with meat, with with all the quite strong. I can say I can explain the dishes in
you
English.
can also say
Sorry,
it in Italian and I'll just translate. Puoi anche dirlo in italiano.
the, ci sono tutte le selvaggine, dal cinghiale alle, no, tutti i piatti in umido, diciamo, quindi che hanno dei sughi e degli oli interni, fondamentalmente.
So the
But
typical dishes of Umbria are like game meat and then also meat cooked in these kind of stews
yeah.
that are typical for the inland of Umbria, and they of course pair perfectly with Sagrantino.
Yeah, and talking about vegan, for example, Umbria is also famous for a lot of typical and really rare kind of legumi, are you say?
How do you say legumi? Legumes, I think legumes.
Legumes, like beans or
Yeah,
lentils or something like that. So you can make really rich lentil soup or bean soup,
mm,
and will be perfect with the rosso or
yeah.
sagrantino. Talking about vegan, if
True.
someone prefer.
But it's true because for a vegan company, it's not that easy to promote.
Yes, to match red wine, but vegan is also a big word. I mean, we think
Yeah,
about vegan like salad or really simple things, but with vegetable you can create really
yeah,
complex dishes and really rich dishes
yeah.
that can pair really well with the red wine.
No, for sure. I mean, like also, I don't know if you have also black cabbage in Umbria, cavolo
Yeah,
nero.
Tavolo Carbonero is more Toscan, but also in Umbria we have a lot of dishes. Yes, I think in every region in Italy we have really deep and really rich vegetable soup. It's quite common.
Yeah.
So is that usually we think about like meat because of course is the more the matching that you always think about when you talk about red wine.
Yeah. So she says thank you. Cari says thank you, and that she was coming to visit you someday. So let's hope in the post-COVID era, we hope to get back to visiting wineries.
Great.
No, I think it's been very interesting. Of course, I visited you, as I said, just before the pandemic. So I got to see where you produce your wines. For those of you who follow today, I hope you can visit her someday, and also meet Ilaria in person. I don't know. Is there anything you want to add about your winery or your wines before we end this round up this live chat?
I think that I say almost everything. I hope that some of the people that follow today us was to have more curious about wine, about Umbrian wine and Montefalco wine would be great. Not just for me, but I think that a territory, a producer is strong if a territory is strong. So it's not just about me. It's about all the area all together.
Yes, no, that's true. So definitely, when we can travel again, and if you travel to Umbria, you should go to Montefalco and call Ilaria. And I also hope to get back to Umbria soon, next year. For I don't think
hope
there will be any.
They move Anteprima in May, so hopefully, hopefully we could. Yeah. In the end of May, the last day of May. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. Let's hope that we can all meet in
I would be glad.
Montefalco. So thank you, Cari, Evelyn, and everybody else who has listened and followed today. I think there will not be any more live streams before the holidays. But for January there will be some nice guests also to talk about digital media, digital marketing that I also help wineries with. And I hope to have some interesting guests there. And for the rest, thank you, Ilaria, and I hope to...
Thank you all. Thank you, Katerina.
Stay on for a minute while I close the live stream. So for all the rest of you, I wish you a Merry Christmas. And if I might have a live stream next Wednesday, I will let you know. It depends a bit if the guest actually will have time. It might actually be an interesting guest. We're going back to Campania if he confirms. Let's see. And otherwise, Merry Christmas to all of you. Buon Natale, and I hope to see you next time.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Ciao.
Ciao. Bye.